teachers used to call me Kalidas, vegetable, and my English teachers call me Shakespeare.
You have written 3 books by now. So, did your school, teachers, friends, family treat you differently after the book was out?
People nowadays, they don't read books, especially the Gen Alpha. There's a whole lot of Gen Alpha sitting here, 2010 bonds, and they don't read books. Writing a book in itself is a great achievement, and in my friends, yes, I'm always asked to write the pieces when it's assignments, projects, anchors. Yes, because I am the writer now for everybody.
If your life was a book, what would be the title? And also, if your life was a movie or this book was created into a movie, who were the characters or who were the actors that you would want to act in it? The first question comes from your speech. You said that, it's been a journey of writing. You mentioned the word transformation. You have written 3 books by now. So, did your school, teachers, friends, family treat you differently after the book was out? Was there something different that you found when you walked to school after the first book was published? Tell us about that.
Well, let's talk about school first. I published my first book after lockdown, which was 2022, case number 107. It's a crime thriller. So I launched it in my school. And when we talk about treating differently, I write poetry. And in my school life as well, I used to write all the speeches, anchoring debates and everything. So a different treatment was that my Hindi teachers used to call me Kalidas, vegetable, and my English teachers call me Shakespeare. This is a little bit of treatment. And let's say when I launched my first book, it felt like a moment of wow. Everybody kind of treated me like a celebrity, and all the teachers, they just asked me to create characters out of my classmates in my books.
Oh, wow.
The notorious one only.
That's interesting.
And when we talk about family and friends, family always supported me, and I'm grateful enough. And well, let's say when you do something as in write a book or write 3 of them, you are not treated like an ordinary person, because people nowadays, they don't read books, especially the Gen Alpha. There's a whole lot of Gen Alpha sitting here, 2010 bonds, and they don't read books. Writing a book in itself is a great achievement, and in my friends, yes, I'm always asked to write the pieces when it's assignments, projects, anchors. Yes, because I am the writer now for everybody.
She is the writer for sure. And I think the word author or the writer, when that comes to your name, that in itself is a very beautiful feeling. Just a little insight, when this book was taken to the Ahmedabad book fair, and a lot of people came, saw the book as well. There was this one little girl I remember, she asked me that, I love the cover because she said that the protagonist on the cover is carefree and bold. That's exactly how you wanted it to be. So, Pranjal, I also want you to talk a little about the main protagonist, and also what are your message for the young women or girls who will be reading it across? I know you mentioned it in the speech a little, but this is actually something that I would like to know more. That what is your thought for them?
When talking about the cover, starting with the cover first, I asked Devanshi that the cover should be a color as pretty as girls would like to put on their lips, as the gloss. And I think we did a really good job there, if girls are really liking it. And then let's talk about Isabella Santoro. She's the main character, the protagonist of the story. She is living 2 lives in this world. She is a wealthy heiress of her family's empire, a businesswoman, disguised businesswoman and a wealthy heiress, while in real life she's a mafia female lead. Well, not the bad mafia, she's a good mafia, I should say, in children's language, because her aim is, let's talk about, her aim is killing the mafia, people, everybody who brings crime, who brings negativity into the world. Her aim is to take everyone down. And her means are revenge. She thinks that justice is revenge. There is a very famous dialogue on a postcard as well I printed from one of her team members, which is FBI and us, we are not same. They follow protocols, we follow gunshots. So Isabella's aim is that we follow gunshots. Whenever we talk about taking down the mafia empire, which is her aim. And the whole story we see that how in taking down, in killing people, well, it is a different path to seek justice, right? Not through the court. All her emotional complexities, how does she deal with that? How does she hold the gun and kill people in a go? Does she not think about that? No, she does, right? So you delve into her story. It is a first person point of view book. And you get to know, you get in her head what she feels when she is committing crime. In a very raw language. She's not a part of law. What she thinks when she's committing crime, when she is taking down all the negativity, all the bad people, let's say. This is Isabella Santoro. And my message would be that it is a very complex story I am not here to spill all the beans, you have to read the book, purchase it and read it, right? So it is a very complex story we talk about that which empire is she taking out? It is a family's empire, right? She is taking down the mafia family's empire because she is the heiress. Her path is different. What she wants is different. To all the young girls and to all the readers, even if your path is different, even if you don't want to fit in the box of being ordinary, of being normal, you can do it. And as I just addressed it in my words as well a moment ago, that you are the author of your own life. People may call you abnormal for which you think is normal, but it's okay. Be abnormal, be a little more extra, add a little more extra to the world, because I believe in that the universe sent here you for a purpose. There is a purpose for you being here on the earth. And yes, you can all the time do a little bit extra, because in technical language you have the copyright of your own life. You're going to live it till you die. And yes, do a little extra, do something which you think is ordinary, do something which is normal to you. That is, even if you want to entirely go on a different path than your peers and family and everybody around you. Yes, people will always pinpoint you. That is the main message to the readers, because in the story itself, Isabella Santoro is doing something entirely different. And the society doesn't support her because, yes, she's doing something entirely different. She's doing something which is considered really abnormal. But that is what you are here for, right? Do something little different in your story.
Absolutely. You spoke a lot about, creating a character that is beyond, we would see in a normal way. And you said that, be abnormal when it is required. I actually want to ask you, where does this thought comes from? What is your inspiration behind writing this book? Who was the inspiration? What is the inspiration, or which thought was the inspiration behind that?
Alright, so the credit goes to China for the lockdown. Okay, when we were stuck in the lockdown, everybody was stuck with their own thoughts. Some people were in a really negative loop. Some people, unlike me, were really in a positive loop. I read a lot of books. I heard a lot of podcasts. And around me, I have always felt that there is something missing, because in my school as well, when we talk about our peers, nobody is really interested in doing something extra. Do what is asked you to do, right? Just follow around, fall in the loop which is going on. Nobody is even a bit of enthusiastic when we talk about doing something extra. That is the thought behind writing. That is the inspiration. That is the thought process which comes when we talk about writing, doing what I am doing, like do something extra. My goal is, my aim is to have multiple careers, as in I have my own podcast too. I paint, I write, I read, I blog as well. I do ample amount of things apart from academics, which in my circle, in a place where I live, let's say school or peers, it is a lot extra. I am the extra person sitting here. If anybody would want to point out to something abnormal, Pranjal is the one who is really abnormal. Because it happened once in a class as well. A new English teacher wanted an introduction, and the whole class pinpointed, just she'll not stop when she speaks. Okay, we are going out, we don't want to just introduce ourselves because we don't know ourselves, right? So just take her introduction at the very last because nobody wants to hear it. So she is really a bit extra. Really a bit extra.
But I think proudly the extra, because if an extra gets you to publish a book at this age, then proudly an extra, for sure. Also, just a fun question. If your life was a book, what would be the title? And also, if your life was a movie or this book was created into a movie, who were the characters or who were the actors that you would want to act in it? So there are two questions, both are fun. First is, if your life was a movie, what would be the title to it?
If my life was a movie, then there are 3 C's that would be the title. One is chaotic, other is clumsy, third is creative. Because when I'm creative, I'm a lot chaotic and clumsy. So that would be the movie or the book title. It is my whole life summed up in 3 C's: chaotic, clumsy, and creative. And if this book was a movie, the characters, I feel if we're talking about the Indian adaptation, I don't know the characters of Hollywood. So let's just stick to our country. Right. So if we take Isabella Santoro, who's a really strong woman, I think Taapsee Pannu would, really portray her well, up to my expectations. And let's talk about Michael. Michael could be played by any male character, because let's focus on the female character here more.
That's very interesting. Absolutely. Also, Pranjal, when we speak of Crimson Dreams, Scarlet Screams, tell us a little, how did this title come up? And what was your thought behind that?
Okay, so the title came up from my other personality. I'm also a painter and artist. So I really know all the technical names of the colors, which is red to you, it is crimson to me, which is blue to you, it is Persian to me. Okay. So Crimson Dreams, Scarlet Screams, crimson and scarlet, both are the shades of red. Everybody here has seen a rose, right? So red rose. It is a really deep and bold color. That is crimson. It is crimson. And crimson is a deep, bold shade of red. So it justifies crimson dreams, which are bold dreams. Okay, and when we talk about scarlet is another shade of red which you may associate it with a shade lower than the shade of blood, which is, high pitched. It is a sharp shade of red, more of a sharp shade. So Crimson Dreams or Scarlet Screams justifies that when you have dreams which are bold, extraordinary, different, the struggle is, the same thing. The struggle is also really a lot. So that is a Scarlet Screams.